Okay, good morning. So today, before I'm going to start with the remaining topic, I think it's really very important for you to know the timeline of dynasties. In this chapter, chapter number 2, there comes a different names of dynasty in this chapter, right? So I think it will give you a little bit confusion because of the different names of the dynasty were there. So I think if you know this timeline properly or chronologically alter properly, then it will help you to understand this chapter or learn this chapter more easy, right? So here is the timeline of this Indian dynasty in the ancient time. So first we have this Mauryan and Magad Empire, right? We have already done with this topic, right? Magad Empire, right? 600 BC to 345 BC. Then we have Nanda dynasty, 345 to 321 BC, right? Nanda dynasty, second dynasty. Then third we have Mauryan, right? Mauryan Empire. We have already done this topic, right? 321 BC to 185 BC. Then we have Shungas, right? Shunga from 185 to 75 BC. Then we have Khanwas, right? 75 to 30 BC. These are the different kind of chronological order of dynasty. Then we have the Satavahana dynasty. Satavahana dynasty is circa 2nd century BC to circa 2nd century CE, means AD, because we don't have this exact date. Even historians have never given this exact date when this happened, right? So we put circa before this date. Then very important dynasty, we have Gupta dynasty, right? In the 4th century CE, right? 3rd century CE to 550 CE AD. Right? Now in this, if you remember, this Shunga, Khanvas and Satavahanas, and between these there were two more dynasties. Shakas were there, then Kushans were there, right? These all we call it a post-Mauryan dynasty, right? They established or form happened after the Mauryan dynasty, right? But in this chapter, the important dynasty that we are going to learn about is Magad, we have done it, right? Then Mauryan, we have done it, right? Then we are going to study about Gupta Empire. But I'm not saying these others are not important. Yes, they are important. But in our chapter, we are going to discuss more about these three. Understood? So these are the chronological order of dynasties during the ancient period. Okay? So now, today what we are going to discuss is point number 4. That is new notion of kingship. Now, notion means idea, right? And kingship, idea of kingship, the ruling of kingship, new idea of how to rule the kingdom or dynasty or empire. Understood? Inside this, the point number 1, or point number, inside this 4, the 4.1, the topic number 1 is chiefs and king in the south. Now, chief means head, right? Rulers or headmen, right? Chief guest. We used to invite in these festivals, right? And king, you know about it, right? In south. Now, if you remember in the chapter number, in the last video, we discussed about this expansion of the Mauryan Empire, right? Mauryan Empire expanded from northwest frontier provinces to Assam and then to the Andhra Pradesh. Now, if you notice here, most part of the South India, right, were not under the Mauryan dynasty, Mauryan Empire, or you will call. They are free. They are not under the control of Mauryan Empire, right? So in this chapter, what we are going to learn is during that period, right, many dynasties happened near this boundary of Mauryan Empire. So first, see, there are many new kingdoms or dynasty emerged around the boundaries of Mauryan Empire, right? Over here south and somewhere in this area, right? Now first we are going to discuss about the south. In the South India, during that time, we have this dynasty called Chola, Cheras and Pandyas. Now you see in this map, they all happen near the area of Tamilakam. Now see, in exam you have this 6 marks of map, right? So you need to pay attention here. Chola, Cheras and Pandyas. See in this triangle, Chola, Chera, Pandyas, right? Chola, Chera, then Pandya, right? In these three south dynasty, Chola, Chera, Pandyas, were contemporary or happened with the Mauryan Empire during that time, 3rd century BC. Understood? So these three empires emerged in the area of Tamilikam. Now you see Tamilikam. Tamilikam. Now in this 1 marks is a 1 marks question. What do you mean by Tamilikam? So there must be a 1 marks question about it. You need to pay attention. Tamilikam is an ancient Tamil country which include some part of Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and entire Tamil Nadu. See, Tamilikam, name of the ancient Tamil country, right? Which include, see, if you look at in this map, Tamilikam is an ancient country, Tamil country which include few part of Andhra Pradesh. Here, few part of Andhra Pradesh were there, and then few part of Kerala were there, and then entire Tamil Nadu. Understood? Entire Tamil Nadu. In suppose in 1 marks there's a question about what do you mean by, what do you understand by Tamilikam? So your answer should be Tamilikam is an ancient Tamil country which include few parts of Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and entire Tamil Nadu. That's why it's called Tamil country. Understood? So now question here is how do we get this information? From which source we know about this southern kingdom happened during that time, right? During the modern period. So there were texts known as Tamil Sangam literature, right? Tamil Sangam literature or texts mentioned about these states. So in the north, if you remember, we have Dharma Shastra, Sutras, right? And this Manusmriti, Rig Veda, and then in Buddhist we have this Buddhist text, Jain text help us to reconstruct this northern area history, right, during that time. Just like in the southern part, in this area, Tamilikam, these Tamil Sangam texts give us information about the Cholas, Chera, Pandyas, king, how the administration systems were done, and how this, how the king used to. They also talked in this literature also mention about the social history about this dynasty that happened in Tamilikam. Understood? So Tamilikam is Tamil is a very ancient language, right? And Tamil Sangam text is also a very important text of ancient India to know about Southern Empire. Understood? So apart from that, we have a Satavahana dynasty in central part of India, or you can say in this western part of India. We have Satavahana dynasty that happened between circa 2nd century BC to 2nd century AD, right? See here, Satavahana dynasty ruled over the part of western and central India circa 2nd century BC to circa 2nd century CE or AD, right? Now see, here western and central India, why it is written like western India means here it's come according to the cardinal direction, right? East, west, north, south. It comes a little bit to the west, that's why it's called western. And why it is called central? Because if you look at the India map as it is a center, right? And we can also call it in the Deccan region, right? Satavahana dynasty happened near the Deccan region. So these are also dynasty that happened during that time. And plus this, we have this penetration or infiltration or penetration of Shakas, or Central Asian people. They came to India and they ruled India in the northwest part, right? See, Shaka, a people of Central Asia origin. Now, if you look at in this map, see, in this map, Central Asia origin. Now, where is Central Asia? India is South Asia, right? In Southern Asia. Now, Central Asia means over here in this Stan area. We have this Turkmenistan over here, right? Then we have Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, we have, right? Then we have Afghanistan, all this area, and we call it Central Asia. Right? Now, Shaka are the people of origin. They came from the Caspian region, the Caspian Sea over here. From the Caspian Sea, they came to India. Some historian mentioned that they came from Hindu Kush mountain in Afghanistan. And they entered India, right? And many other historians also mentioned that Shaka came from Iran, then they came to India. Right? Iran in ancient time we call it Persia, right? From Persia they came in or they penetrate in India. Understood? So they came to India with the BCs and then they ruled this area, right? Stan area, including some part of this India. Understood? Now, the Shaka are people of Central Asia origin, as I told you, right? established kingdom in northwest and western departments. Northwest means this Taksali and this area, right? And then derived revenue from the long distance trade means their way of income, right? Their income they get from the long distance trade with the subcontinent of India. They used to do, if you remember in this previous, during the Mauryan period, right? Mauryan period, Taksali is, Taksali and Ujjain are located in this long distance trade route, right? So good tax for the Shakas from that area, understood? So this is all about the different dynasties during that time, understood? And the next topic that we are going to discuss about is 4.2, divine king. Now the topic itself, make it a little bit clear what is divine. Divine means important, right? Holy, or you can say celestial being, right? Now divine king means, in history at the time, some of the king try to make themselves as, giving them a high status by, giving themselves as a high status by adopting these different kind of titles like son of God. So why they do these kind of things? Because if they think they have a good kind of title, then people will automatically follow them, right? They pay respect. So that's why there were many kings in ancient. They also try to follow this kind of theory, like divine theory or divine king. Now see, claiming high status was to identify with a variety of deities. Yes, of course, claiming high status, right? Try to make oneself very high for the other these social categories, right? With the people, right? And king himself, they try to make a social category between this. They try to make segregation. And how they do it, because they identify with various deities. Deity means god and goddesses, right? They compare or they identify themselves as god and goddesses and try to make them a high status in the society so that people will follow them or respect them. Understood? And one best example of the dynasty were Kushanas, right? During that period, 1st century BC to 1st century CE. Kushans, right? Kushan are the best example. They claim the high this status, right? Who ruled from Central Asia. See, if you look at here, Kushans in this area, Kushan is Indus Valley area and Pakistan, and then some part of this Rajasthan and this area, right? Kushan, who ruled Central Asia, Pakistan area, and Northwest India means this area, right? Taksali and this area, Gandhara, this whole area, they rule. And they follow that strategy means adopting the high status, right? Now the rulers of Shaka called them, or these Kushanas, called themselves as a Devaputra. Devaputra means, Deva means God, right? Putra means son. So they themselves call as a son of God. Now they get this kind of influence, or they copy that kind of title in the China at the time. In China, many Chinese kings, they call themselves as a son of heaven. So they replica that kind of idea. In India, they used to call themselves as a son of God. So in order to get a high status in society. Understood? So one of the major important this king in this right is the Kanishka, right? A very important king. And then most important, I would say most important sources to reconstruct how they get this kind of title. The coin itself clearly shows that they are very eager to get this kind of titles. How? Because the Kushana's king, they introduced a coin, right? In history, the first gold coin in India was introduced by Kushanas, right? So in their coin, gold coin, in one side of the coin, the image of the king was there, right? And in other side is the image of God or goddesses, right? Or goddesses. So that clearly shows that they try to identify themselves with the equal level of God. Understood? So that's why they call it as a son of God. So there are many kind of different sources to understand about the Kushana's ruler. Right? We have this coin, right? As we have, right? Then we have sculptures. Then we have textual sources. Then we have monuments. All these kind of sources, help us to understand about the Kushanas during the time, history of Kushanas. Right? Now, one important sources over here is massive statue of Kushana rulers were found in Mathura, UP, right, where the birthplace of Krishna, right, Shri Krishna was there, and Afghanistan, where these kind of statues, right, massive statues of Kushanas were found, rulers of Kushanas. Understood? So this is about how they, how the ancient king, not only Kushan, in the medieval period, right, during the Mughal period, the Mughal king also used to do this, claiming high status, right? Because why they claim high status? Because they want, some kind of respect from the society, from the people, right? So if they try to claim this kind of, title, so their, reign will remain more and longer. So that's the reason they claim high status during the time. Then we have very important, this dynasty called Gupta dynasty, right? In the 4th century AD, Gupta. And Gupta was, this large state like Gupta Empire founded by Chandragupta first. Now, please don't confuse it with Chandragupta Maurya. Right? Chandragupta Maurya is a founder of Mauryan Empire. Here, the Gupta Empire was founded by Chandragupta first. Don't confuse. Understood? Chandragupta Maurya established Maurya established this Mauryan Empire, and Chandragupta first established Gupta Empire. Understood? So he's the first ruler, and we in this we have Chandragupta first, right? Then we have the Samudragupta. Then we have Chandragupta second, right? This noted king, important kings, right? Now, kings in this Gupta period, the important things that we need to study about Gupta is king depended on Samantas. Now, this is very important thing. Samantas means noble or minister, or Samanta is a kind of title. Now, what is Samanta? Samanta system is a kind of system in which what the king used to do, instead of giving salary, king give land, huge amount of land to the noble, right? Samantas. So what these Samantas or noble do, they look after this kingdom or this area, territory, and then they collect tax from these people, right? And then what they do, they pay little bit amount of tax to revenue to the king, and they also pay homage to the king, right? And in the war, they reinforce or they send troops or army to the king in the battle. Understood? So in the later part of this Gupta Empire, what happened? Some Samanta become very powerful, and then they revolt against the king, and because of that, king need to face the consequences. So many historians, right, R.S. Sharma believe that decline of Gupta Empire is because of the Samanta system. And if you have learned this European history, we call it this feudal system, feudalism. What R.S. Sharma mentioned about Indian feudalism is Samanta system. Understood? This process works like that. Look at over here. King, what the king used to do, king give land to the nobles, right? The Samantas. Then Samanta rented or asked peasant to cultivate it in this area. Now what peasant do? They provide these taxes and goods to the noble, right? And noble provided protection to these peasants, and peasant provide this tax to the noble, and noble provided tax plus an army to the king. So this process works like that, right? In later part of this empire, Gupta Empire, what happened? Some Samanta become very powerful, then they revolt against the king, and because of that, it is the main causes of decline of the Gupta Empire mentioned by many historians, especially the R.S. Sharma, right? Very noted historian of this feudalism or Indian the Samanta system. Understood? Okay, then the sources from which we know about the Gupta, right? And sometimes there was a question about what are the sources to know about the Gupta Empire. So sources to know about Gupta Empire, of course, coins were there, right? Inscriptions were there, monuments were there, literatures were. These are the every time every kind of this answer you can able to put this kind of answer in every question sources, right? Now special things about the Gupta is the Prashastri. Coin, of course, we know. Inscription, we know, right? Now, Prashastri is another, invention or new things in the Gupta Empire. Now, what is Prashastri? Prashastri literally means praise, right, to the king. Praise, right? Praise for the king. Now, there was a very, popular Prashastri wrote by this Harisen to Samudragupta, and we call it Prayag Prashastri. Now, Prayag, see, the word Prayag is an ancient name of Allahabad. During the medieval period, the Muslim, this king used to call Allahabad, right? Before, it is known as a Prayag. Prayag means Allahabad. Understood? Now, and I think around is 2012 or 13, exactly I'm not sure of this date, where there is the UPCM, right, Yogi Adityanath, he tried to convert it, this Allahabad name again to the Prayag, right. Now Prayag Prashastri means Allahabad pillar. See, in Allahabad you have seen this, pillar. This is also called Prayag Prashastri or Allahabad pillar inscription. Now, so composed means wrote in Sanskrit by Harisena. Harisena is a court historian or poet of Samudragupta, right? Second most powerful king, and second king of Gupta Empire. Now in this pillar, what this Harisena wrote, he praised to the Samudragupta just like that. Samudragupta is most powerful king in the world. He is really brave, right? And he loves for their citizens. Not only that, he also mentioned about this. He is equal to the god, right? He also mentioned Samudragupta as a Indra, god of rain, or the Yama, god of death, right? So just like that, praise for that. Why they do this kind of praising? Because in order to get patronage, reward from the king at the time, right? So through that way, we know about the Gupta Empire. Understood? So that is all about the Gupta Empire. So that is Prayag Prashastri. It also called Allahabad pillar inscription. 1 marks question. Also, that must be a 1 marks question. Prayag Prashastri. Understood? So that's for today. And next topic we are going to learn in next video. Thank you.